Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, a.k.a. PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast here on Blab. As always, I'm your host, PD Beats. You all know me outside from the Twitter world as Peter Remoliotis. This is the podcast where we have digital dialogues and topical discussions from the worlds of social media, sports, and pop culture. We have two guests from the social media sports world, and we're going to be talking about something I like to call Pokemon Go. We're going to be talking about that. I'm really excited to talk about that and the intersections, the cross promotions between that and the social media sports world. So I'm quickly going to introduce the panel. We have a digital media analyst for the Washington Redskins in the NFL. We have Geoff Blosat. Jeffrey, welcome to Popternative.
Peter, PD Beats, thanks, brother, for having me on.
No problem. And we also have the athletics communication assistant at Niagara University, Joseph Ray is with us. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Pete. No, it's a bit of a mouthful, but glad to be here.
No problem. So very quickly, opening remarks. Geoff, what does a digital media analyst do? It's kind of a little bit of a vague title. What do you do with the Washington Redskins, and what's your background? Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. So I've been with the Redskins since June of 2015, so that would be a year and a month, so 13 months. Basically, I am the data moderator for all of our digital assets, from our website to social media to advertising that's done on our site, on any of our sponsorship logos, anything like that. I'm in charge of tracking all of that data and helping kind of clean it up and then report back on it to our partnership marketing team and our sales teams. It initially started off strictly as a try to find the best type of content role, just looking at our website and social media, and now it's evolved more into how to turn that around to the business side of things. So it's pretty awesome.
That's really, really cool. There must be a lot of reports and presentations on the daily, that you got to do.
Yeah, that's putting it lightly. I've got 3 big ones tomorrow, so it's been a busy week to say the least. You know, they say, the off season's a quiet time, right? No, it's not. It's
not.
Probably when I'm personally busiest. A lot of people are obviously very busy during the season, but me, it's more recap and prep during the off season.
Yeah. Busy. Well, it's preparation, absolutely. Well, we're happy that you have a little bit of time to come on the show. We really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you for the invitation.
No problem. And Joe Ray is with us. He is the athletics communications assistant at Niagara University. You have a background and you're interested in, the social media and digital communication, specifically in hockey, correct, Joe?
Yeah, absolutely. So athletic communications assistant is digital media roles for Niagara University, given that we're a pretty small department. So I'm really involved in our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We're hoping to be going on Snapchat this year as well. Do a lot of video content as well. Mostly I work with our men's hockey team. I work with the Buffalo Sabres and Bandits digital content for the last 2 years. So really been around hockey a lot the last few years. I also work with our men's soccer team, our swimming diving teams, our softball team, and our women's lacrosse team.
Awesome. Yeah, no, a man with many hats, as we could see.
There's never nothing to do, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. We've had a lot of people that do communications for NCAA universities on the show before, and that's what they tell us. There's always something. Chris Yandel, who was with Georgia Tech, has been on the show. We've had guys from Michigan, Brian Wagner. So it's really awesome to have you guys on and get all your perspectives and your knowledge. So yeah, so Pokemon Go. This is an app that's been taking over. That's putting it lightly. Just taking over the world almost. It finally released in Canada. It's unbelievable. It's I think double Nintendo stock. It just keeps continuing its growth and as one of these kind of virtual reality video games. Geoff, have you ever seen anything like this? Something that's taken off this quick?
I think the big thing is that it's taken off so quick. You mentioned that last part there. I haven't seen anything like this truly explode essentially overnight. I mean, the quote from the guy from Niantic, he said, for something to explode overnight, it takes 20 years. But it was just perfect timing for everything. It really taps into our older generation, the whole nostalgia feeling. It taps in younger generation and embracing your phone and, being in the mobile world. So it was the best of both worlds kind of situation. I've never seen anything like it.
And Joe, what about you? We've been talking about it a little bit. This is an app that has had a lot. It had some hype before it came out. I remember seeing a lot of promos for it, and I was interested right away. I didn't think it was going to be this successful, but I knew it was going to take off eventually. But yeah, talk about the rapid growth of this thing. It's a monster right now.
Yeah, absolutely. At least from my perspective, this was the first experience that I had ever had with any sort of augmented reality, virtual reality, anything of that sort. And I think for that to be coming around in something that's so accessible as a free video game, and it's on your phone, so you're taking it everywhere with you, I think that's definitely been a huge contributing factor. But just the insanity of how much it's grown. I mean, I'm going around Buffalo, I go down to Canal Side, and there's easily hundreds of people just running up and down there, hitting up everything. It's something like I've never even expected it to be.
But it's also sorry, continue.
Sorry, man. I can't wait to go into DC sometimes. I'm about an hour out of DC. Looking forward to going into DC and challenge and for the White House gym, to say the least.
What I find really interesting is it's summertime, right? It's taking off in the summer. I'm like the whole, back to school type thing. This is going to have negative and positive, perspectives towards everything, because what's going to happen is you're going to have all the people who are going to want to use it. Schools are going to have to, lay the hammer down to a sense and kind of, restrict that. It's going to be crazy. We don't have a lot of those layers right now because it's the summertime. But, Geoff, do you think about, what's going to happen, when fall comes, all the universities open, Frosh Week, people are going to have fun with this.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be crazy, especially on college campuses. I know I'm still in touch big time with a lot of friends from college. I went to school up in Rochester, New York, RIT, and big rivals in Niagara in hockey. And it's blowing up on campus. There are so many different stops, so many different Pokemon, people all over campus, and it's summertime.
But yeah, another thing, too, that Geoff mentioned as well is, all the possibilities. But there's a lot, Joe, there's a lot of layers and a lot of narratives around this as well. There's a lot of narratives about the whole exercise aspect, that people are going out and having exercise. Do you believe there's some there's something there? Do you think about that aspect of it, being encouraged to go on walks and everything?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's definitely something that says, there's an aspect built into the game, travel a certain amount of kilometers and make sure you can't just drive around in your car to hedge those. So that kind of gives that internal promotion to get outside, get active, and with the game also being integrated into, landmarks around your town, figuring that stuff out. So I think it's really constructive from that standpoint. I think there is obviously also the negative side of, if there's a lot of traffic from that game coming that's unwanted by some places. I know a lot of churches around here are, Pokestops, and they might not want people running around and all that stuff.
Sorry about that.
I think there's pros and cons to it, obviously, and there's valid points on both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Geoff, I was just talking to Joe about the aspect, the exercise aspect of it, that narrative. What do you think about that narrative, the whole concept of, oh, it's great, my kids are going outside and playing. What do you think about that narrative that has evolved over the past couple of weeks?
2 thumbs up. I've been following the whole subreddit community, Pokemon Go's subreddit community, very closely. And it's been amazing. Some of the transformations, just even in a short period of time, some people are saying they're going through. I know for me, I think it was a week ago Sunday, after church, my girlfriend and I walked around walked around my little village in Leesburg, Virginia, for 3 hours, walking through parks, the little town area, just looking for these things. And I mean, my pedometer said I logged 15,000 steps or something crazy. It was oh my gosh, okay. Yeah, right, exactly. So I was like, oh, that's cool. So no complaints there.
It's actually such a fun time to hop in the car with a few friends and drive around and get out and walk around parks. We went in Ottawa. We have a little little lake called Petrie Island, and we went, and there were water Pokemon everywhere. And as I think someone must have tweeted out or something, because all of a sudden there were lures everywhere. And it was I didn't see people, but there were lures everywhere. So I guess some people were like driving around in the cars and walking around.
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely an experience. Joe, I'm gonna put you on the spot right here. Where do they take this? Like with updates coming, what can they do? Like what's next in your opinion? I know there's a lot of the obvious aspects with actually linking up with friends and having team battles and all that. But what do you think is next for this app?
Well, I think the easiest thing to note is that there's also about 7 generations of different types of Pokemon. So if people ever get really nonchalant about the game, just be like, hey, we're going to introduce this next 150 and you can go catch all them. I think definitely from the money aspect, I think it sounds like they're already talking about setting up sponsored stops and gyms and setting up a way to request request for your place to be a stop or to not be a stop, something like that. I think definitely there's some room to grow in that aspect as well.
A lot of potential there.
Yeah, Geoff, I was about to say, that's right down your alley. What do you think about that concept of sponsored Pokestops? That's awesome.
That's incredible. I mean, obviously it's number one in each app store, both on iOS and Google Play, so the exposure is there. Trying to figure out the cost right now, it's just so hard to do, because it's like, how much do you charge for this, or how much should I pay for something like this? Like, the whole thought's amazing, and how you can turn it around. I mean, we've seen businesses, small businesses like brick and mortar businesses, do stuff already with stops and lures, and gyms are just the next step, and this kind of sponsored stuff's like crazy. So I'm really, really excited to see what's going to happen.
I don't see it stopping, though. I don't see there being kind of like a week where the hype is not as much as it was last week. I see it kind of as this consistent flow of not people playing this game and talking about it. All three of us are part of the social media sports community. I'm loving all the GIFs and the memes. It's the greatest thing. I think the best thing I saw, Joe, is I saw a meme where it's like when you're trying to hatch your egg in Pokemon Go, and it's like Forrest Gump, like him walking, and it finally gets to 5 kilometers, and then it's a Pidgey, and then they segue to the Office clip of Michael Scott. No! Please no!
It's definitely spawned some pretty amazing stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Talk a little bit about that, Joe, and Geoff, you can chime in as well. Talk about that intersections between the social media sports community and Pokemon Go, because Pokemon Go, it's not necessarily a sport, but there is kind of there are the notions of competitions in there, so there are linkages there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think definitely the place where this is going to run most is colleges, where you're targeting a younger demographic, a demographic that's likely grown up with a lot of this stuff. On the pro level, I think then it kind of goes to, you have to gauge your audience. Is your audience a little younger? Is your audience a little older? Are they into these kind of things? But I think there's definitely potential at all levels of sports.
Yeah, absolutely. The esports community is definitely going to potentially eat this one up. I mean, I'm a regular Twitch viewer. I go on Twitch daily, kind of watch a couple streamers and whatnot, and Pokemon goes regularly in the top 10 of games played, every day, right up there with the big esports games like Counter-Strike, League of Legends, and Dota. So, I mean, they're trying to capture, streamers are already trying to capture an audience. So, whether it'll be interesting to see how it's kind of gamified for like a competitive sense. Is it like, you set people loose across an area for like an hour, kind of like we do with pro fishing, and it's like, oh, the first one that you find, you get this or that. It's a lot of cool potential stuff that can be done.
How much fun is South Park going to have next season?
Oh
my gosh, I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's going to be such a good episode.
It's going to be a good one for sure.
No doubt.
But that's also the thing that I find really interesting as well, is I find the cross-pollination of Pokemon Go in the sports community and the entertainment, like everyone's kind of grasping it. But another thing that I wanted to talk about as well is obviously this Pokemon Go episode, but you mentioned streaming, Geoff, and Netflix has a show out there. I don't know if you guys seen it yet, but it's called Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard about that? Have you watched it yet?
Heard of it, yeah. Not watched it, heard of it.
Okay, I highly recommend this show because
Yeah.
this is a show that pays homage to, and you'll get the Pokemon Go link. This is not out of left field. This has to do with it, but it pays tribute to E.T., Stand By Me, Goonies. It has that feeling, that 80s sci-fi feeling, and nostalgia is a powerful thing. We're seeing it with Pokemon Go, and it's like, what do you think about nostalgia with, linking that to social media trends like TBT and all of that? That is something that is here to stay. And what do you think sports teams are doing or not doing to include nostalgia in their content on a daily basis, Geoff?
So a big thing, nostalgia is huge in the sports world, especially with, teams that have had success or teams that have a rich history, like the Redskins, the Buffalo Bills, using a local example, Montreal Canadiens up in Quebec. I mean, a lot of sentimental value in those brands. And it's something that I know personally for us, in just observing teams in the NFL, we've done a lot of it in tapping into it in the off season, not only highlighting big things that happened over the last 12 months, but really like tapping into stuff that's happened over the past 10 years, 20 years, from Super Bowl runs. You have little competitions, you keep up on your sites. And then during the season, it can be a nice way, if say the season isn't necessarily going as planned per se, it can be a good way to kind of offset that, the negative tones that, might be coming through the pipeline if you talk about current news with your team. If your team's losing regularly week in and week out, maybe it might be time to drop in, for the Redskins, for example, let's drop in, John Riggins, let's drop in maybe a video or, players commenting on John Riggins' Super Bowl run against the Dolphins, or, Art Monk's performance against the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl and their win, or, seriously, for those who don't know that are viewing it, I might live in Virginia now, but I was born and raised in Buffalo. So diehard Sabres fan, grew up a Bills fan. And so that obviously mentioning that hurt a lot. But we've seen a ton of sports teams, tap into it, when content might not be there in real time, or, performance isn't necessarily going to plan. So the nostalgia factor is definitely there.
And Joe, you work in university, for a university in the athletics department. Nostalgia obviously is a huge tool that you guys use because you like to keep your students and your fans in the loop of past alumni that are now in the pro professional sports. That's also something as well, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We're always keeping tabs on our alumni, especially with the hockey team. There's tons of places for guys to go. There's East Coast Hockey League guys working up. A couple guys made it to the NHL. Also, guys going over to Europe. We've got a couple of players that have played with Asiago, one of the big clubs in Italy, and they've been huge. And I definitely want to do more this season with reaching out to them and saying, hey, Niagara hockey's got a really rich history. We've been around for 20 seasons now. We've made it to the NCAA tournament 4 times. We've won over 300 games as a program, and on the whole, too, our soccer program's been great. Our women's lacrosse team is just starting a great program. Mm-hmm. Colleges in general, just, your alumni base is the core of your university. It is what you have to come back to all the time, and nostalgia is absolutely how you tap into that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Continue, Geoff. Sorry.
No, sorry. I don't mean to keep it. No doubt. Agree with you, Joe. I mean, they're the ones that are, boosting programs. They're the ones that are donating, and the ones that,
exactly.
So they want that kind of sentimental stuff. They want to be brought back to the college days, and the Frozen Four runs and everything. So, totally 100% agree with you there.
And it's similar, with what I've done, in the past couple of years with the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League with their alumni is, we had a lot of fun this year with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and we had, Sidney Crosby who played in our league, and Chris Letang and Fleury as well. We had that, it kind of just reminds people about the brand, and I think it adds value to a brand too, right, Joe? Because if you have someone who is a Purple Eagle and now he's playing, in the NHL and he's having a successful year, that's right there some that's some brand promotion for the university. Like, hey, you want to be a winner? Well, he's a winner for in the National Hockey League right now. It's you see it a lot with other universities too. Geoff, I know Chris Yandel said he worked with Miami the Miami State University, I believe.
University of Miami, yeah.
But yeah, University of Miami, and he said they had at one point the most NFL alumni out of like many universities. They had the most, and they were using that as a marketing tool. And I don't see why not, especially how powerful nostalgia is. And yeah, no, that was my linkage to the whole Pokemon Go, because this is something we grew up watching, when we were younger, and now boom, it's back. But now a whole new generation has adopted it. I've seen kids that they're probably like 2 years old when, Pokemon came out. And they're like, I caught a Pikachu. And it's like, you have to go back in time to realize how valuable that is to have a Pikachu.
Oh, it was a big deal.
Pokedex. It is a big deal. I caught 2 Pikachus this week, guys, and I was like, is this like,
what?
Is this, I have 2. I have 2 Pikachus, and yeah, no, I wish I could play it more often. But it's been promoting me to go for walks more, which I think is
it's funny because you want so badly to set limits, and then all of a sudden you're getting looped in. Oh, hey, I found this one cool thing right outside my house. Oh, let's go drive 10 minutes and go find some more cool stuff. Oh man, it's been 2 hours, and now I've just completely done nothing.
I think the funniest thing too, I saw on Snapchat a couple weeks ago, and I'm shouting out to my buddy JJ Lane, who's on this show as well. Is he was at a mall. I laughed so hard. He was at a mall and he was playing Pokemon Go, and he just snapped a video of these kids on their phones walking, and like his little comment said, like, his little caption was "rival poachers." I was
That's
laughing.
too funny.
I was kind of like, you know what? Am I supposed to be laughing this hard? Like, what is wrong with me? But I thought it was so funny. Like,
it's just a battle, man. It's a rough world out there.
Seriously,
man, it's crazy. I'm loving all the content that's happening from this. And a lot of people are like, and a lot of my friends are saying too that the not FOMO, but like the content that like you're kind of like you're jumping on the bandwagon when your team has nothing to do with it. But we hit the nail on the head, right? Like we hit the nail with a hammer when we talked about how there's kind of that competition sports notion of Pokemon Go. So it does work. Like I don't understand some of the negative like press or comments about like sports teams using Pokemon Go. I think it's awesome.
I do kind of agree a little bit with the FOMO stuff. I mean, if it doesn't necessarily fit the brand, it might come off as a little bit awkward. If you've got a whole content message that you want to try to promote, it's like there's really no, like, let's say, for example, when Pokemon Go was launched, like the week, couple days after it was launched, the San Diego Chargers had a really great Instagram post, and it was they had taken, like, someone had caught a Pikachu right like next to their podium where they have all their press conferences with all the Chargers and the lightning bolts all around the backdrop. And so that was a really cool image, and I got a really high level of engagement for them on their Instagram channels. However, like a team like us, we don't have that where it's like Pikachu, it's an electric type, Chargers, lightning bolt, electricity, all kind of fits that brand. However, with us, I mean, we'd be forcing it kind of to an extent. I mean, it's like, okay, we go outside, we want to get a picture of, a Pokemon, whatever, and be like, gotta catch them all right outside, our building or whatever. But, our building is, we aren't directly linked with our stadium. Our stadium's about an hour away from our headquarters. And, it's not necessarily, visually stunning here, outside. So, it'd be sweet, to have like a little Pokemon, and catch it or whatever. But I mean, honestly, all we catch around here are Rattatas and Pidgeys, and the backdrop is, the backdrop is, just a Washington Redskins building. It's like, does it really fit the brand? Is it really what, your consumers want? I mean, maybe it's, maybe you want to create a dialogue, maybe, but so I can kind of understand the whole FOMO thought. But I mean, if the moment is right and you think it fits your brand, then I mean, go for it 100% if you're a sports team.
Joe loves them Rat-a-tats, though. Purple Eagles, repping. Come on. Get those all around the rink, man. Get all those all around the rink.
Pidgeys and Spearows, flying types only.
Good point.
But it's purple, though. Purple Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I can't believe you missed that reference. Oh. I feel like such a failed podcast host right now.
I do like the
I will
catch.
Oh,
I like that one.
well, I guess we're gonna wrap it up now because Joe just. Oh.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
all
but
good.
yeah. No, seriously, we're gonna wrap it. Yeah, you have to catch them all. After you missed out on one of my I actually thought that was a good joke and a good reference because Rat Tats are purple Eagles. But maybe we could Joe, we could figure out a way. We could figure out a way to make a new Pokemon where we take like a Pidgey or a Sparrow and we take a Rat Tat just for its color, and kind of figure something out
together.
I'm liking this. Excellent creative project.
We could do it. Well, I think we're going to wrap up this episode of Popternative. Geoff, I thank you so much for coming on the show, and I wish the Washington Redskins all the best in this upcoming NFL season.
Dude, thank you so much, man. I'm actually about to go head out and catch some Pokemon. Redskins party.
Oh, snap.
So I'll sit outside, place a lure, and just kind of hang out there for a little bit while traffic dies down.
I'm probably going to go play a little bit too, walk my dog. My dog has been getting so many more walks lately. I wonder why. Joe.
Yeah, I think I saw that meme. It's like, oh, your dog's so tired. That's the sixth walk.
Yeah, man. And it goes back to what you said, Joe. All the content that's being made around it's endless. It's just like a pool of content that there's never going to be anything like not fresh or new that we can use and kind of repost and everything. But yeah, Joe, thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I hope you had a good time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Pete. It was a really good time, and I'll be glad to report back and see how Pokemon Go does at Niagara University during the
Absolutely. We're going to have to talk about that. Well, this has been Popternative. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Joe. You can catch previous episodes of Popternative on our YouTube page, and you could follow us on Twitter. You can like us on Facebook. Thank you all. Happy hunting, and have a great week, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.